Alright, hi guys, my name is Corey Norton, and this is our last speech for Speech 205. This is our persuasive speech. The topic I chose was American Heart Association, so that's my cause, and we'll just kind of get into it. So if you didn't have eyes, could you see? Of course you couldn't see, because that organ is very vital to that function. Eyes with sight. And the same thing could be said with our heart in terms of just overall living. The heart is a very vital organ, second only to the brain, in terms of just living life day to day. We can't live, or we can live with our eyes not working right. I mean, I have glasses, and there's many other people who have contacts and different things like that. And we can live with stuff like that. You can live with your ears not working. One thing you can't live with, or live with well, is your heart not working correctly. So, if your heart ever stopped working, it stopped pumping blood, you would quit. You wouldn't live very long after that. So, that's part of its vitalness to the life system. So somebody like me, I'm a nursing student, knows all too well, you seen firsthand what the heart does and how important it is, especially when you see stuff like cardiovascular disease. My grandfather was a very big role model. He was a farmer, and he spent a lot of long days outside and took great pride in his work and what he did. But he had heart disease. You kind of expect it for the older generation. It just kind of happens. He had a heart attack when I was in 8th grade, and he had to undergo 2 open heart surgeries to try and correct the problem. But he didn't make it through the second surgery because his heart was too weak to even restart. So you can kind of see, trying to fix it sometimes doesn't help either. It's once you get to a point, it's not worth saving. So, right, like I said, I'm currently a nursing student, and I just finished up my clinicals at a nursing home. And you get to see really firsthand with someone laying in the bed the repercussions, or just kind of what comes about from heart disease, or problems with the heart and the cardiovascular system. I can think about one of the patients I had my second week. This person had congestive heart failure, which it's, to be short, your heart has a proneness to want to fail with if it meets any resistance, or there's a lot of things going on. So this guy, he didn't take activity very well. He was very short of breath, very tired, very irritable, and that's very common with congestive heart failure. They have to actually be on a special diet. So, like I said, you can see how the heart, it requires a lot, because it's the second most important organ behind the brain. So heart disease kind of encapsulates many different conditions, such as coronary artery disease, high blood pressure or hypertension, cardiac arrest, congestive heart failure, stroke, and many other things that you may not think of. So according to the CDC, or Center for Disease Control, heart disease was attributed to more deaths than diabetes, the flu, pneumonia, suicide, accidental death, and kidney disease combined here in the U.S. from the years 1999 to 2014. So you can see that this is a big deal. This is really taking a toll on our society. And most people think, it'll never happen to me. I go to the gym, I go run, I go do this. I eat pretty good. But you just never know. It can happen to anybody. Until it happens to you or someone close to you, you may not see it as a problem, or you may not see your way of doing things as being wrong or not enough most of the times. According to the CDC, about 610,000 people die of heart disease in the United States every year, and that's 1 out of every 4 deaths. So, think about next time you're in class and you're sitting with a group of people if there's 4 of you there, one of you is probably going to die of heart disease. And as morbid as that sounds, that's kind of the truth. And a lot of that happens, most of them occur, are first heart attacks. People don't know the signs and symptoms and all the things associated with that. And less than half of that, 610,000, are people with a second heart attack or more. It just, kind of like I said, once it gets to a point, it just keeps going and keep going. You can't reel it in and control it. And the best way to prevent this stuff is through education, funding for this education, and the American Heart Association does a great job of doing all of that. So with proper funding and research, the American Heart Association, or AHA, can improve the quality of life for many people with heart disease or other cardiovascular sicknesses. They can even prevent death in some cases with proper screening and different things of that nature. According to the American Heart Association, they have been working to save and improve lives from heart disease and stroke for more than 90 years. Between the research and the education, like CPR classes and different things that they put out. So, let's say you have a headache. You'll probably take an aspirin, or you'll take a Motrin or Tylenol for that headache to make it go away. And if you're sick, I got a little cough, I'm gonna go to the doctor, and they'll decide to give you a certain antibiotic or treatment to make you better. Well, heart disease isn't a one thing. There's no one way to just bring it down. It's a multifaceted problem. So you kind of have to tackle it from all of these different places. This is why the research that the AHA does is very, very important. So the research that the AHA has been able to do because of donors, like you, they have been able to steadily decrease the deaths caused by heart disease. According to their website, which is the American Heart Association, I think it's .com or .gov, I can't remember off the top of my head, it's .org. Heart disease deaths have declined so steadily over the decades that we are eagerly awaiting the day when it is no longer the leading cause of death in the United States. We've already seen the stroke death rate drop. It is now it went from the number 3 cause of death to the number 5 in over the course of 5 years. So now, while research is one main component of their mission, it's not the only thing that they do. Another main element is education. They're passionate about teaching people about heart disease and about how to prevent it, how to prevent strokes, because heart disease and stroke can be kind of the same thing. Or a heart attack and stroke can be more or less the same thing, and they can be prevented the same way as well. This education that I keep mentioning, it includes stuff like CPR classes, healthy living classes, weight management classes, healthy eating, physical activity, stress management, different screenings for different things. Like I said, there's a myriad of things that they do. Any donations that you make to the American Heart Association not only go towards funding the research, but for funding these classes so that we can give this education, the stuff that some of us like healthcare professionals know, give it to the people who it's directly affecting. Not like it's not affecting us, but to give it to them and let them run with it. So you may be asking yourself, what is my little $5, what is my little $20, what is it going to do in the grand scheme of things? Well, your $5 or $20 could very well help fund a CPR class for a daycare or a school for teachers. The AHA has been around for almost 100 years, and they still lack the fundings for hundreds of different research projects. Research projects are very, very expensive due to the depth that they have to go to pull out the evidence, to give to us as professionals to use for like heart disease and different things like that. So there's still hundreds of research projects that they need. And there could be a breakthrough in the next one, but they don't have enough money for it. So donate to the American Heart Association. Your donation will not only help the research, it will fund CPR classes, it will fund education, and so much more. And you never know that $5, your $20 could spark the breakthrough that helps prevent heart disease in you, or helps cure heart disease in you or someone you love. you love. So, yeah, that's it. Thank you.